Hi, point. My name is Sensor Turley. So we got another track review on Reflex, and this one is made by Dark Slides. Pretty sure C4. All those dudes put together are on this project here, if I'm not mistaken. I love this traction. Why does this feel so good? I don't know, but that traction's like, felt like I could just hold it wide open and get just enough of back wheel spin to where it was slightly sketch, but not enough to where I felt like I had to let off. So that was really cool. Just kind of like that perfect brownie mix filling dirt style to it there. I don't know, it just felt really good. Traction just feels good. No other way to explain it, man. Just when traction feels good, traction feels good, you know. I could just tell that right away too. Like, that's so weird, isn't it? It doesn't take long to figure out if the traction's good or not. Like, you can pretty much tell. Ooh, got a Dodjo SpongeBob's. Okay, you guys know these replica AMA Reflex tracks have some pretty hardcore, sharp, jagged edge, realistic style ruts on them, especially compared to your stock tracks and stuff like that on Reflex. So you got to know what you're doing on these tracks compared to some other ones. But I think it's so cool how they can actually go in there and make such a different design of on-track and corner and rut design and stuff than what's in the base version of the game. You know, a lot of people wouldn't even think that you could have ruts and stuff like this on Reflex. That they just wouldn't even suspect that you could even have that. But it's pretty insane that you can go in here and make stuff that really is on another level of difficulty and skill gap and stuff like that, just from the custom user track design element of it there. So yeah, let's see, nice little inside rut. Okay, jump over that. Now, of all the years of, you know, pro racing, I say all the years, I've pro outdoor race like, I don't know, 2 years now on actual high point outdoors and the different versions of it that I've rode on and stuff like that. You would think I would totally have the track learned, but it's not always like that. These outdoor tracks change just a little bit every year, and everybody kind of puts their own little spin on it. And even though you know the general layout of it, it doesn't really mean that you know the track. Even when you talk about like the difference between, you know, 2014 high point all the way through to 2018 high point on MX Simulator, just because you know one of them doesn't mean you know all of them. Like, you could be really good at one and terrible at the rest. I mean, that's really how different they become. Now, there are certain years of certain nationals that feel super similar in MX Simulator, like they put, I don't know, 0.5 hours in on the work on trying to make the next year of track of whatever version it was. But for the most part, they do an okay job on changing it enough. But so yeah, this has definitely got a little bit of a different feel than the 2018 MX Simulator high point. This feels more like an old school high point layout, and I always know with MX Simulator, they don't always get their layouts 100% perfect on what it was on the actual race, because they have the pro race like a week earlier than when the actual race is, and they're running off of track maps, and you guys know they change from the time the track map comes out and stuff like that. So I'm not really sure what is what here, but this definitely feels like more of an old school high point layout, and some of these little sections here definitely feel more like the 2000 and probably 15 high point, 14 high point, something like that. So on MX Simulator anyways, that is. Really, really cool roughness they got into some of these corners. But yeah, man, I mean, shout out to those dudes doing all that, and Dark Slides and C4, and they've got a website that's got a lot of the downloads for the Reflex custom tracks now. I know I tried to go on Reflex Central and download this off the straight up download link on that, and it didn't work at all, so I had to actually find their website, which has a lot of links to a lot of tracks. It's basically the new Reflex Central, so I think it's amazing what they're doing on that side of it, and the fact that they're still going in here and making some of these real-life replica tracks. Very, very cool to see. Got to keep that Reflex alive, man. It's the game for it, for sure. It's still to this day, I believe it is. I don't think you've got any other competition. Like, I still feel like this is the one that needs to be the arcade game, that is. You know, obviously you have MX Simulator, but this is still the arcade motocross game that that you need to be, you know, putting the custom tracks in and all that kind of stuff into for people to play on, because it's still, to me, the best physics game, arcade motocross game out there. So, not a whole lot to say. I mean, it's High Point, dude, and it's made well. I mean, that's, you know, they've kind of built this standard of making these replica tracks on Reflex, and they know how to make that roughness, man. They know how to make those braking bumps. Now, it would be cool to see them maybe expand upon the rut and corner designs and stuff like that on these replica tracks. I know I just got done, you know, spurting about how I love these tracks so much, the replica tracks, and the way they perfectly design them and stuff like that. I know I said all that, but at the same time, it's like, you know, all those tracks are starting to kind of get this exact feeling to them. So it would be cool to see a little bit of a different, you know, make the ruts maybe a little bit, I don't know, a little bit smaller in some places, a little bit bigger in other places, you know, versus having them like, seems like it's almost like the exact same in a lot of the corners, which, don't get me wrong, I love it. I mean, especially compared to a lot of other Reflex tracks, I love the way these replica tracks feel, but it would just be cool to see a little bit more variation within that. I think it'd be just a cool way to do it, you know, have like where it's, I don't know, some of the ruts are a little bit wider gapped, not like the exact same width of ruts and all that kind of stuff. So, you got that High Point section right there. Okay, got that jump. Probably should have let off. Whoa, Betsy, get a little wild on me, girl. Got to calm them titties down. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Really, really fun once you get going fast on some of these sections, though. But yeah, good God, man. Reflex on PC is so different than Reflex on console on the way that it actually feels. I know I made an entire video on that, but gosh, man, me coming back to the PC version after playing the console 360 version for a little while, it's just like, I don't even know how it's even possible for them to have been that different. I really don't know how it's possible. That's just how different they really are. There's that little hook, finally. Now, all these replica outdoor national tracks that, you know, C4, all those dudes have been making, I don't know if, I know there's probably some other dudes that are involved in it, but I just know that, you know, C4 and Dark Slides are some of the main dudes that started getting in there and doing that. So, but it does seem like they all have a very scaled, one-to-one scale type of, you know, they're trying to make it super realistic scaling-wise. So if you guys don't know, with Reflex, or any arcade game for that matter, when you have a super realistic scale sense to a track, it can almost eliminate some of your fun factor, you know what I'm saying? And that's what they're trying to do, is just go in there and make replica versions of these tracks. But like, I mean, even this jump right here, you know, like that's supposed to be a pretty massive jump in real life, and it just doesn't feel all that big on the actual Reflex version of it. Even though the corners are a shitload of fun and tons of skill gap, and like that right there, had to let off just a little bit and really think about what I was doing in the corner and in the rut. Just, I don't know, it's like some of the jumps do feel a little bit on the, like they're so realistic scale that, you know, the fun factor's not quite there type of feeling to it, but it's all in how you look at it. I mean, would you rather have unrealistic? Would you rather have realistic? Would you rather have easy? Would you rather have hard? Would you rather have skill gapped? You know what? I mean, there's just all different kinds of styles of track making and all that stuff. Oh, shit. I did one of those damn 360 no-scope backflips. You guys know on Reflex, like, if you just keep on turning, she'll turn all the way around. So, got to be careful on that. But yeah, man, I just love the roughness. Like right there, it gets super scary if you try to just hold on the gas all the way. They've got it's like they build all these replica tracks the same, and which is cool that they do that, but there are differences between, you know, when you go from Red Bud to Utah to Southwick to this to that, all your different outdoor tracks, they just feel different. Whereas on Reflex, it's almost like they sat down and they made one of these outdoor replica tracks, and they were like, okay, this worked really well, people loved it, and so that's what we're going to do on every track from now on. You know, and it seems like they've stuck to that exact sort of formula: corner roughness style, jump height, corner width, track width, roughness height, braking bump size, braking bump amount, you know, all of that little stuff seems to be the same as it is on just about every other one of these national tracks. And do not get my words twisted, man. I love the way that it feels. Nice little pop up on a triple on that roller right there. I love the way it feels. I mean, it's an awesome design, but it just, having it on every single one of the replica outdoors, I don't know, it just gets a little bit, it's like you expect, you know what you're going to get too much. You know, there needs to be a little bit more variation within that, but and I think once they do that, then it'll be really cool there. But yeah, man, okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me personally, I feel like High Point might be a little bit, it's almost like they got their scale cramped down maybe a little bit much in some areas on this track. You know, High Point is more of an open style track. I feel like this is almost like you melded maybe like Red Bud with High Point. You know, it's almost got like the width and the shortness of lanes and all that kind of crap, and some of the rut designs of like a Red Bud, but put on a High Point layout. That's kind of what this feels like right here. Even though it's a shitload of fun, it's High Point, I feel like it's got the uphills are a little taller, downhills are a little more ramped downhill, the width's a little bit wider, you know, the sections are a little bit longer, you get going faster on some of these sections, and definitely like on MX Simulator layouts and stuff, they're a little bit bigger. But you know, this section, like right up here, you guys can see this really fast section. I feel like this was all made pretty well, like what you would expect from High Point. You know, the super fast, long straightaway feels like a perfect distance. Right here, you can get going super quick, sketchy speed, bust your nut on that, and not in a good way. And come around here, you know, still pretty good layout, width type of feel to it. Got the triple up there, then still feels pretty good right here. But it's like once you hit... even right here feels pretty good. You know, around this corner feels all right, but it's like once you start getting right about this point, it's like it almost gets too tight and the lanes get a little bit too short. It's like the scaling got a little bit off here, in my opinion. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. You know, like right here, I feel like that section maybe should have kind of sweeped out a little bit further. That having to slam on your brakes right there feels a little bit weird. Yeah, this is definitely more of an old school style layout of High Point for sure. But let's see, triple up to there. I don't know, but all in all, it's really not bad. I mean, I'm getting super nitpicky as far as talking about crap like that. It's not bad. I mean, even this section right here seems a little bit tight, a little bit short lane style. But all in all, solid track again from you guys. I mean, definitely not terrible by any stretch. I'm going to give it a 9 overall, and I'm going to say the difficulty for Reflex track. Oh, let me pop my leg off real quick. I mean, yeah, corners maybe a little bit more difficult. I was expecting the roughness to be a little bit more choppy on this right here. Like I'm saying, it almost feels like it's got almost like a Red Bud style roughness, more so than a High Point style roughness, but that's just kind of what I was feeling on it. But it's still not that bad as far as the difficulty sense. Jumps are not, you're not going to have to really huck on anything to be able to jump anything. Very, very standard jump style feeling to it. So okay, let's see. You can jump up over that. You might have to pull back a little bit on that one, but that's about the only jump on the track that's like that. Okay, let's see. Come around here. Wide open. Got to let off just a little bit so you don't I should probably over jump that down into those rollers right there, and you can be okay. Oh, yeah, baby. Getting that high speed going. Jumping up over to that. Triple nipple up to that, then carrying all that speed around to right here into that rut. Could sweep this around, hit this little banking berm corner, try to carry as much speed as you possibly can around here, slow back down, hit this little inside rut. That was probably a terrible rut to hit. You can jump into these little, I don't really know what the lingo name for that section is, but very famous High Point section. Difficulty, man, you're probably looking at, I don't know, maybe medium. Like, yeah, the corners are more difficult than a stock Reflex National, but the jumps are easier than a Reflex stock National. So I think all in all, you're just looking at a medium difficulty range here. So either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.